Several years ago, my late husband and I were working with an organization, and we got a call from the leader who was so excited to tell us about a trip they wanted to send our family on. He explained that there would be zip lines and hiking and all kinds of fun outdoor activities. And my husband and I just looked at each other and we were like, oh my goodness, what are we going to do? Because we wanted to be excited and like, hey, this is so great, thank you so much. But the reality is that at the time, we have our son who has multiple disabilities and he requires a special bed, lots of special equipment. He overheats easily, and so we have to be so careful, especially in the summer. And he just honestly prefers being at home. And then on top of all of that, my late husband was a recent amputee and we had to do wound care every day. And both my husband and my son used wheelchairs, so I moved both of them using wheelchairs. My husband was on dialysis every night and he had so much equipment. Plus, we had to have such a high level of cleanliness to keep him healthy. So we thought, what are we gonna have to do? We'll have to rent a semi to haul all of the supplies that we would need to go. And just the thought of making this trip was so overwhelming and stressful, on top of all the other stress that we faced as a family with multiple disabilities. It honestly put us in a bad spot because we felt pressure because we didn't want to tell them no, but there was no way that we could possibly make this work in our world. See, here's the thing. Their heart was in the right place. They wanted to bless our family. They wanted to do something special for us, but they made a huge miscalculation. They assumed that they knew what would be a blessing to our family instead of really knowing us. And in 2005, my late husband, Jeff, and I founded Rising Above Ministries, and we are an outreach ministry that focuses on supporting and encouraging families living with disabilities. We have worked with families from all over the world who have shared stories with us about the ways that the church has missed the mark with their families and made assumptions that ultimately ended up hurting the family. Their heart was in the right place, but they missed it by making assumptions about what a family might need or be experiencing without really getting to know the family to learn what they really needed. So I'm going to share with you the top 5 assumptions that families shared with me so that hopefully you can avoid making them. Now, for many of these assumptions, you may think, well, of course, that's a no-brainer, but you would be amazed by how these still come up over and over again. So here are the top 5 assumptions often made by the church about special needs families. Number 1, don't assume where I want to serve in the church or that I can't serve. So often families living with disabilities are unseen by the church and others. It is sometimes assumed that we want to lead the disability ministry or to be our child's buddy at church. But as one parent told me,
they asked the tired, worn-out mother to start and run a disability ministry. I'm not just a caregiver. They assume that I can't serve somewhere in the church. Or worse, they assume that I will be the teacher or youth leader for my child with special needs. We need a break from each other.
Parents of children with disabilities have so much to offer the church in areas outside of the disability space. Help them find a place to serve if they desire. Have a conversation with the parents to discover their gifts and talents and where they feel led to serve. Provide opportunities for them to serve, knowing that you will need to be flexible in case they are unable to be there one week or if something unexpected comes up with their child. You might also need to provide additional care for their child so the parent can arrive early to serve as a greeter or be on the worship team or serve in some other area. When you make space for a parent to use their gifts and talents to serve God and others, it can be life-giving and life-changing. Number 2, don't assume that you automatically know what programs and events special needs families need or want. A one-size-fits-all approach will not work when you look at disability ministry or when considering outreach opportunities that might be of interest to families living with special needs. A friend of mine who happens to be a pastor's wife shared how someone from her church decided to hold an outreach event for moms of children with special needs. The church member assumed my friend would want to help with the event and even speak at the event. She planned the whole day based off what she wanted without knowing what would actually be beneficial for the mom she was hoping to reach. My friend shared with me,
It was awkward. She wanted to help, but it was almost like she wanted to help in her own way instead of trying to be in my shoes and see what would be the best help for me. I felt like she was coming from a true desire to help. I think it was just a heart that didn't understand this walk. It was definitely very awkward.
So in this person's attempt to be loving and supportive, she missed the mark and actually made things more uncomfortable for my friend because she missed the step of talking to and listening to the people she was attempting to serve. So have a conversation with the families you are serving and find out what would be helpful for them. Don't assume that what you think might be beneficial is actually what families want or need. Number 3, don't assume that if parents are curt or snippy, that we're just being difficult. Families living with disabilities have stress on a level that is truly hard to imagine. One mom shared with me,
We want to be treated normal, but we realize that our circumstances are not normal. You never know how our morning has been, much less our night before. We may be coming to church exhausted, overwhelmed, discouraged, broken, and giving God all we have left. We need love, tenderness, and compassion.
and don't we all want that? So be mindful of what parents may deal with on a daily basis, all the stress, all the sleepless nights, the exhaustion. It can all take a toll on every member of the family. And responding in love when a parent is having a bad day will go a long way in showing families that they are seen and understood. Number 4, don't assume we want your unsolicited advice. Parents of children with disabilities are some of the best researchers out there. If there is something that might be helpful for our child, trust me, we more than likely already know about it and we possibly have already tried it. When well-meaning people offer unsolicited advice or suggest a treatment for our children, it is often in an attempt to try to connect with the family and truly be helpful, but it often makes the parents feel like that you don't think we know what we're doing. And one parent said,
People miss the mark when they want to give me their advice on how to fix my kid. I do this every day. I'm doing the best I can for my children. When I need someone to just listen, they seem to have all the answers and want to give me their diagnosis and what I need to do about it.
So instead, listen, really listen to the families and hear their stories and get to know them. You don't have to try and fix their situation. Just be willing to sit with them in their pain. Be there with them. You honestly don't have to say anything at all sometimes. Just be with the family and offer them encouragement. Number 5, don't assume that we will be able to tell you what we need if you ask us. Parents of children with disabilities deal with decision fatigue. You know, the average person makes about 35,000 decisions in a day. But parents of children with disabilities make thousands more, leading to additional stress and decision fatigue. Many times we don't know what we need, especially if we are in the middle of a crisis. And we experienced this over and over again when my late husband would be in the hospital and I was caring for him as well as caring for my son who has disabilities. And people wanted to help and they would ask how they could help. But honestly, I could not even process what to tell them. It was way too overwhelming. Instead, do something for the family without them even having to ask for help or thinking about how they would reply if you asked them what they need. Send them a DoorDash gift card so they can order dinner on an especially challenging day. Fix freezer meals for them so they can have them at the ready for after a long day of working and afternoon therapies and appointments. offer to run errands, or cut the grass. There are so many ways outside of providing a program on Sunday mornings to love and serve special needs families. And don't forget about the single parents of children living with disabilities. As a single mom myself, there are so many things around my house that I need help with, and yet I don't always want to ask. And so reaching out to see if there are needs is a beautiful way to show the love of Jesus to the families that you serve. Bottom line, how do you avoid making assumptions? It's pretty simple. Just get to know the families. Spend time with them. Visit them in their homes. Ask questions and learn from them the ways that you can love and serve them best.